Hello everyone and welcome back to Multilingual. Today's class will focus on idioms. Idioms is a style of language commonly used by native speakers and not so easily adapted by language learners. Instead, language learners are focused more on simple vocabulary, simple grammar. This more simplistic style of speaking and writing is important to learn and understand. However, it is the more playful language that will make people believe you are a native speaker, or at least a long-time English speaker. These are challenging to add into your vocabulary, but it's very doable. Trust me. Now, what is an idiom? Well, it's a figure of speech. And usually it cannot be translated directly from one language into another because it would make any sense. Let me give you an example. If I told you, shoot for the moon, I wouldn't be asking for you to literally aim for the moon in the sky. Rather, this phrase's meaning was decided by years of people all across English-speaking areas telling others to go for their dreams and to not give up hope, even if the dream is nearly impossible to reach, by instead saying the phrase, shoot for the moon. An example for this idiom is, I have many goals for this project that may never happen, but I'm going to shoot for the moon anyway. Personally, it's one of my favorite idioms in the English language, to shoot for the moon. Never stop believing in yourself. Always remember, you can shoot for the moon. So idioms make languages more colorful and interesting. And today we will discuss some of the most colorful idioms in the English language. It's important to remember, though, that there are so many idioms in the English language to understand. Knowing and using them will come with time. Are you ready to dive into it? Let's begin. So let's begin with a very negative idiom. The meaning of this idiom is quite negative, and that is to stab someone in the back. I guess you can imagine what it might mean to stab someone in the back. Is an idiom that means to betray someone or act against someone in deceitful and treacherous manner. So here are a few examples for you to understand how this idiom can be used in a sentence. Number 1. John thought he could trust his colleague, but he ended up stabbing him in the back by stealing his ideas and presenting them as his own. 2. Mary felt betrayed when she found out that her friend had stabbed her in the back by spreading rumors about her. 3. The company's CEO was stabbed in the back by his own board of directors when they voted to oust him from his position. More examples. The politician was accused of stabbing his fellow party members in the back by secretly working with the opposition. And 5. The athlete felt that his coach had stabbed him in the back by benching him for the championship game without any warning.
I'd stab you in the back?
So what do you think about this idiom? To stab someone in the back? Do you have any experience with this? You can let me know in the comments or just create your own example sentence to practice using this idiom. Let's go to the next one. To face the music. To face the music is an idiom that means to accept the consequences of one's actions or to face a difficult situation. To face the music. It sounds really nice, but it's not. Number 1. After getting caught cheating on the exam, John knew he had to face the music and accept the punishment. You see, he had to face the music. He had to face the consequences of his cheating. Number 2. Sarah has been avoiding her boss for weeks, but she knows that she needs to face the music and talk to him about the project. She has to face the music. Okay, that means something is wrong with the project. Number 3. The politician was caught in a scandal and had to face the music in front of the public. Oh, he had to face the music in front of the public. That means he had to speak up. And yeah, in front of the whole audience. 4. Tom was nervous about telling his parents that he had failed his final exams, but he knew he had to face the music and tell them the truth. Okay, I mean, that's clear. If you fail your exams and you have to tell your parents about it, then you have to face the music. 5. When the company went bankrupt, the CEO had to face the music and take responsibility for the company's failure.
Well, time to go face the music.
You see, if you have to face the music, it doesn't mean anything positive for you. Have you ever had to face the music? Let me know in the comments. You know, I'd rather listen to music than face it. I personally like the next one. It's not my cup of tea. Actually, it's coffee inside, but let's pretend it's tea. And if I told you it's not my cup of tea, that would mean that it's not to my liking or preference. Something is not my cup of tea means I don't like it. Let's see how to use this in a sentence. Number 1. I tried watching that new TV show, but it's just not my cup of tea. Okay, this TV show is not to my liking. 2. I know everyone loves sushi, but it's just not my cup of tea.
Not everybody's cup of tea. I heard.
Let me know in the comments whether you like sushi, whether it's your cup of tea or not. 3. Jazz music is not my cup of tea, but I know some people who love it. 4. Mary went to the party, but she found the loud music and crowded room not her cup of tea. Okay, and this is also not my cup of tea. Crowded room, too much music. I think I'm getting older. 5. I know a lot of people who enjoy running, but it's just not my cup of tea. Sometimes you can see that the examples that I suggest about my own life and my own preferences. So like the final one about jogging or running, honestly, it's not my cup of tea. I prefer to go to the gym. I prefer to do fitness, workouts on the mat, but running is not my cup of tea. You can let me know in the comments down below what is not your cup of tea. This is a funny one. A hard nut to crack. A hard nut to crack. A hard nut to crack is an idiom that means a problem or a situation that is difficult to solve, or a person who is difficult to understand or deal with. Here are some examples for you to understand how to use this wonderful idiom in a sentence. Number 1. The math problem was a hard nut to crack, but John eventually figured it out. Good for John. Next. The new employee is a hard nut to crack. Nobody seems to know how to work with him. So this is a difficult person to deal with. 3. The mystery of the missing painting was a hard nut to crack for the detectives, but they eventually solved the case. 4. The team's defense was a hard nut to crack for the opposing team's offense. 5. The new software was a hard nut to crack for the IT department, but they eventually figured out how to use it.
Meredith is a tough nut to crack.
So you see, something is a hard nut to crack. I mean, you could see the picture, and if you have a nut that is hard to crack, that also means kind of a difficult situation, but you can also use this phrase for a person who is difficult to deal with. I personally use this idiom a lot. He or she or this person is a hard nut to crack. Let me know if you know someone who is a hard nut to crack, or maybe you've been in a situation that was a hard nut to crack. Look forward to reading from you. Between a rock and a hard place. Between a rock and a hard place. I mean, which one is better? A rock and a hard place? I'm not sure. And this idiom means that you are being faced with two difficult choices or situations where neither option is desirable. Between a rock and a hard place. None of them is easy. John was between a rock and a hard place when he had to decide whether to quit his job or continue working under a toxic boss. Yeah, that's a difficult decision, but I think I would quit if I were John. Number 2, the company was between a rock and a hard place when they had to choose between laying off employees or going bankrupt. Neither of these options is desirable. 3, Mary was between a rock and a hard place when she had to decide whether to go to her sister's wedding or stay at work to finish a project. I'm a workaholic. I guess I would stay at work and finish the project. 4, the city was between a rock and a hard place when they had to decide whether to raise taxes or cut funding to essential services. And 5, the team was between a rock and a hard place when they had to decide whether to play it safe or take a risk in the final minutes of the game.
Dan, I'm between a rock and a hard place.
So you see, we use this phrase a lot with the verb to decide. So I was between a rock and a hard place when I had to decide whether or if or when or how. You can let me know in the comments down below how you would finish this sentence. I was between a rock and a hard place when I had to decide what? I hope you like these idioms, and I'd like to read your examples in the comments down below. What idiom did you like most? Which one can you apply to your own life? I look forward to hearing from you, and thanks a lot for watching this video till the end. I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys. Why don't you say it's not my cup of coffee? A lot of people prefer coffee to tea. You could say it's not my cup of coffee.